So much time, so little news. I'm here with your late breaking non news from Metatron News, which is just stories, allegedly. So, first, we need to focus a little bit on the implosion of the circus, something that was foretold by a number of dreaming women. That we were just going to see a lot of creaks and cracks and people kind of fighting amongst themselves. And lo and behold, we've got, what's her name? Margarine T. Greensleeves, and ex clown, current clown, former clown. We don't know because all of a sudden she's got no love for the circus these days. And then, the toy soldier capital Penty Place decided to, put out some type of policy agreement accord to try to force all of the what is it, town criers to be required to sign something to say they're not going to report any news unless the Penty Place says it's okay to report. In other words, they wanted people to sign a flashy dictate. Now, it's funny that they thought they were going to do it, although some people might say, well, there has been a lot of capitulation in the past, so why not this? But, New York Times, Washington Post, even Newsmax, pseudo news, allegedly. They all said, yeah, no, we're not signing that. We're not agreeing to the flashy dictate. This is very good. And then some circus clowns are just having a hard time even just talking to town criers. We got the eyeliner clown who's like, it's chaos. It's all chaos. It's all chaos. Describing what his own party did to the government as chaos. I mean, I think their messaging might be falling apart. And in totally unrelated non-news, we had a bunch of Texas toy soldiers who got sent home for being a little on the plump side, which is pretty, I don't I don't think this is going to work out for them, this policy of if you're too plump, you have to go home because have they looked at the Southern soldiers lately? Yeah, this is definitely a win. Sizeism is bad, but it's working for us. Who thought that would ever happen? Now, another thing that's happening in the circus, which is really interesting, is they've started to say the quiet part out loud even more and more. And so we had the head clown actually say to a town crier, we got rid of free speech. Like they can't even keep it under wraps anymore. And then we had the other guy who's talking about plenary. Plenaries. Isn't a plenary like a bunch of people talking in a conference? But yeah, somebody was talking about plenary power. And yeah, they weren't supposed to say that either. And this is good. This is good. When the supervillains start announcing, you know how it goes in the movies, right? Whenever the supervillain announces to the audience what they're going to do, that's always right before their downfall. They're like, I'm going to take over Gotham City. And then it's like, oh, you shouldn't have told us. You shouldn't have told everybody what your plans were because now we're going to obstruct them. Speaking of obstructions, there's this big music festival coming up this weekend for No Clowns, No Circus. And it's all over the realm. And apparently there's like 12 million dancers and singers going to this festival against clowns. And, this is really, really exciting. So, get your costume, get your musical instruments, get your friends, and, head over to the music venue and have some fun. There's going to be dancing, there's going to be singing, there's going to be a lot of art, especially two-dimensional art. People are just going to be, carrying their art around. No galleries, no need for galleries. Just bring your art. And, let's talk about these costumes though, because these music festivals, they've leveled up recently, especially in Portlandia. And so Portlandia, every village that the circus goes to, like they send their toy soldiers to, what happens is each village kind of has their own unique response to the circus, their own unique response to the cold water cars, right? And then what happens is we all learn from their unique response, and then other villages in the realm say, "Oh, I'm going to do that too." So, like in Portlandia, they all started wearing cartoon character costumes, especially the frog. I mean, is not the frog hilarious? The dancing frog, right? And they're dancing, right? So, like, actually, the dancing first started in the City of Angels. And the first 24-hour music festival was in the City of Angels. So they kind of showed the realm how that was done, how you just don't go home, you just keep sending people. Right? And then Portlandia was like, okay, we're going to do naked bike rides and we're going to do cha 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 wearing, animal cartoon character costumes. And now we all know that's the way you celebrate a music festival. You got to bring your costumes, or maybe no costume at all, just be, bare like the day you were born, bring your bicycle, right? We're all learning. So, we're all learning from each other. And we're also learning from distant realms like Nepalia, and apparently just this week off the coast of Africa, well, part of Africa, but a coastal, I don't remember. But a certain country in Africa decided to pull a Nepalia movement, and they decided the Gen Z people were going to come out into the streets and take care of things. So that's happening in that place. You know that movie Madagascar, with the elephants and stuff? Yeah. And amid all this talk of capitulation and cooperation with the circus, we've got stories like Netflix, who just decided, hey, we think we might be interested in donating some money to some special jousts that might be happening pretty soon to deal with, a certain Jerry situation that involved moving around districts and changing where people put in tickets. They're like, yeah, I think we'll just donate like $2 million to the Gavin cause. And in another example of non cooperation, we had a certain Goldie Sack man put out a report saying, in fact, it is the people who are paying for 55% of the import export tax. And yes, just in case we were unclear, all the villages in a place called New England are just kicking butt and taking names in the courts. Looking at you, head clown. A lot of losses. New England doesn't play. And we got to pay attention to some important persistence moves by some officials in certain villages, like in the Windy City. You know, the heads of the villages said, "We're not cooperating. In fact, we're going to fight against this, and we're gonna you're not getting fed, you're not getting housed. We're gonna make it very difficult for the cold water cars to come to our village." And so everyone's learning from that. Another thing people should be paying attention to is the City of Angels, because the City of Angels County is about to vote on all these new resources, including rent moratoriums and, you know, food and monies for people who are impacted by cold water clown cars. So this is another example of what you can do. Because remember, it's the blue villages that have all the money, right? We have all the money. And so we don't have to send our money to the circus, right? They need our money. We don't need theirs. We could just keep our money and use our money for our people and make sure they're okay after what happened to them with the crazy toy soldier cold water car attacks. And if you aren't paying attention to the smarty pants joust researchers, OMGETA, they are doing some amazing work, and they just keep adding more and more villages to their list of places where there were shenanigans in the joust. We got Minnesota, was it South Carolina? I don't know. There are so many. It's going beyond swingy places. It's all kinds of places. The data is just piling up. There's a lot of good news out there if you know where to look. Stay hopeful, my friends.